Imagine this. You pour, months, maybe even years, into building something new, an innovative project. You do it all out in the open, totally transparent, on a big digital platform everyone knows. You build a community, you deliver real value, play by all the rules. Then boom, one day, just like that, no real warning, no clear reason why, your project gets slapped with a scam label, not just a quiet flag, but a big public accusation that basically cripples everything you've built. It's confusing, right? It makes you ask some pretty fundamental questions about trust, about how these digital places are run, and the sometimes hidden power structures. Today, we're doing a deep dive into exactly this kind of situation. We're looking at SolarianTech. They're a really interesting Telegram native mini app running on the TON blockchain. Our goal here isn't just to figure out what went wrong for SolarianTech, but what this whole incident tells us about, well, the risks of building cool community stuff when you're kind of at the mercy of these big platforms.
Yeah, and it's important to stress this isn't just some small technical hiccup we're looking at. Projects like SolarianTech, they're often, the driving force behind innovation in ecosystems like Telegram and TON. They really embody this emerging vision for Web3, getting real people involved, creating actual value. So when something like this happens, it's not just about the code breaking. It shatters trust, right? It hurts user engagement. And honestly, it sends a bit of a chill through the whole developer community. Makes you wonder how fragile things are when the rules aren't always clear.
Okay, let's unpack this then. To really get the weight of it, we need to know who SolarianTech actually is. What's their story?
Right. So SolarianTech is what's called a Telegram native mini app. That means it works right inside Telegram. Users don't need to download a separate app. They just interact with it within Telegram itself. Super seamless. It's built on the TON blockchain that's the open network, which Telegram itself originally kicked off. You can find them easily. Their channel is at SolarianTech. The mini app bot is at SolarianTech bot. And they have a user group at SolarianTech group. And the key thing here is they didn't just pop up yesterday. They've been building very openly, following Telegram's guidelines, growing a real community for well over a year. This isn't some fly-by-night thing. It's got history, community backing.
Okay, so over a year of open development, a solid community following the rules, that sounds like exactly the kind of project a platform would want to support, right? Promote, even.
Yeah.
So what on earth could have happened? How did they end up in this situation?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And that's what makes this such an important case study. The core event was that their main channel and their mini app bot just suddenly got tagged scam publicly. Not a warning, not a query, just this very visible, very damaging label. And at the same time, the bot itself was disabled. It just stopped working. Plus, their listing got yanked for the Telegram App Center. It wasn't slow. There was no back and forth. It was like flipping a switch. Instantaneous, high impact, and it basically froze their operations overnight, left everyone scratching their head.
Wow, the speed of that is something else. Can you walk us through the sequence? Like, how did this scam label actually appear and what happened right after? It sounds almost like a digital deletion.
It really felt that way to them, I imagine. The timeline shows it was incredibly sudden. The scam label just appeared on both the channel, that's SolarianTech, and the bot, that's SolarianTech bot. Yeah. Non-negotiable. So instantly, anyone coming across them sees this bright red flag. They look illegitimate. And yeah, simultaneously, poof, gone from the Telegram App Center. You got to think of the App Center like the main shop window, right? For discovery, for access, taking them out of there. That cuts off new users and makes it super hard for existing ones to even find the app again. So this quick series of events just left the whole project hanging, dead in the water, functionally. Despite, all that history of transparency and community building we talked about, it really shows how fast platform actions can ripple through an entire project.
Okay, so you're in this impossible spot. What do? You reach out to support, obviously. What happened when SolarianTech tried to contact Telegram? Did they get any feedback, any explanation at all?
They did exactly what you'd expect. They immediately contacted Telegram through the official support channels. And this is where it gets really, really interesting. And frankly, a bit contradictory. They got a specific message back from Telegram support. I have the exact quote here because it's crucial. It says, "Thanks for your appeal. After reviewing the content and the details you provided, we were able to update our decision and lift the restrictions regarding your channel, t.solariantech."
Wait, so Telegram admitted they made a mistake? For the channel, at least.
Explicitly. Yeah. That message is a direct acknowledgement from Telegram that the initial decision concerning the channel was wrong. They lifted the restrictions, an admission of error.
Okay, but you said it's contradictory.
Right, because despite that clear message about the channel being okay, the bot at SolarianTech bot, it stayed disabled. And the App Center listing still wasn't fully back. So you have this really weird, inconsistent situation. The channel's fine, but the core app is still broken and hidden. They were also told by @SpamBot, another official channel, to email abuse at telegram.org, which they did. It shows they were following all the prescribed steps, jumping through the hoops, but they ended up with this very partial, very confusing outcome.
That partial fix, it really shines a light on how opaque these platform decisions can be, doesn't it? If Telegram admitted they were wrong about the channel, why is the bot still labeled scam? Why is it still missing from the App Center? What actual proof is there that challenges the scam label? What's SolarianTech's counter-argument?
Exactly. That inconsistency begs the question. And the evidence countering the label is pretty strong. There are several verifiable points that paint a very different picture, one of a legitimate functioning project. First, partnerships. SolarianTech has documented verifiable partnerships with well-known, respected projects and ad partners within the Telegram ecosystem. We're talking names like @Dogs, @DogsHouseBot, @Notcoin, @NotCoinBot, and also @Asgramai.
Okay, those are definitely established players.
Right, they aren't obscure. Being partnered with them shows SolarianTech was integrated into the legitimate network. It lends credibility. Second, community events and value delivery. They have proof of running major events, like the #DogZogs festival they organized. This involved distributing millions of DogSon tokens to actual users. Millions. That's tangible value going out to the community, not just empty promises. It shows real activity, real rewards. Then there's the financial side. Scams usually involve grabbing money quickly, right? Well, SolarianTech has a token, SLRN, but the farming and airdrop for it isn't even finished yet. And crucially, there's been absolutely no public trading of the token and no collection of funds from the public.
So they haven't actually asked for or taken money in that way.
Correct. That directly contradicts the typical scam model of illicit fund collection. And on top of that, there are records, actual payment proofs, showing transactions processed through their system, real payouts to users. All this together, it really undermines the whole scam narrative.
That evidence does seem pretty compelling. But just to play devil's advocate for a second, could there be anything from Telegram's side, maybe an automated system issue, that could have triggered a false positive? Even if scam is way too harsh. We know these platforms deal with huge volumes, right?
That's a fair point, and you have to consider the platform's operational reality. It's entirely possible. Maybe an automated system flags something, a spike in user activity, certain keywords, who knows, something that, taken out of context by a machine, might look suspicious. The real issue, though, isn't necessarily the initial flag. Automated systems aren't perfect. False positives happen. The core problem is what happens next. It's the apparent lack of a clear, human-led review process, the lack of transparent communication, and especially that inconsistent resolution. You'd expect a platform, especially when dealing with a project with a year-long track record, partnerships, and an active appeal. You'd expect them to have a way to distinguish a potential false flag from a real threat through proper review. The fact they fixed the channel but left the bot and App Center broken suggests, well, a breakdown in that review process, like the full picture wasn't grasped or acted upon consistently.
And thinking about the real people involved, what did all this mean for the users, the folks actually using SolarianTech, spending time on it? How did this whole scam label mess affect the community?
Oh, the impact on the community was,
Yeah,
significant and really damaging. We've seen feedback, anonymized quotes and comments showing just widespread confusion, a lot of frustration, a real sense of loss, actually. Think about it. You're actively using this app, maybe earning something, engaging with it daily.
Yeah.
Then you wake up one morning and it's branded a scam. And you can't even access it properly with zero explanation. It's jarring. It's like your favorite local cafe you've gone to for years suddenly has a condemned sign slapped on the door overnight. No warning, no info.
That's a good analogy.
Yeah, it really shakes your trust. Not just in the project maybe, but in the platform itself, Telegram, that allowed this to happen so abruptly. It just highlights how vulnerable users and developers are when platforms make these big unilateral moves without clear communication or a fair appeal process. It impacts thousands of people's time, their engagement, their sense of stability within that digital space.
So, zooming out again to the platform level, what is SolarianTech actually asking Telegram to do now to fix this completely? And what's the current situation? What kind of signal does this whole saga send to other developers trying to build on Telegram or TON?
Their request is pretty simple and direct. They want a full, complete restoration. That means getting the bot, SolarianTech bot, fully functional again, and getting their listing back in the Telegram App Center where it belongs. Like we said, lifting the channel restriction was good, but it's only half a fix. The core mini app is still hampered, and new users can't find it easily. It's just incomplete. And the message this sends to other developers, it's concerning. It suggests that even if you play by the rules, build openly, you could still get caught in something like this. And even if the platform admits a partial error, the resolution might still leave your project hobbled.
Yeah, that's not exactly encouraging for innovation.
Not at all. It underlines how risky it can be to build entirely on one centralized platform if there isn't a robust safety net for due process. Oh, and one really important practical note SolarianTech has stressed. They're telling everyone, do not send any TON or new funds to the bot until it's officially restored, just to be safe.
Right, good warning. Now, in situations like this, especially in crypto and Web3 spaces, community action can be huge. What are people suggesting? How can the community actually help SolarianTech here? Does that decentralized aspect come into play?
Absolutely. That community power is often the go-to lever in these ecosystems. SolarianTech has been very clear about how their supporters can help push for a resolution. It mainly involves directed messaging, sending messages to specific Telegram contacts and channels to raise visibility and demand action. They've listed quite a few targets: at bot support, at U regulation that's interesting, at spambot, at abuse notifications, at ad scram support, at ads-free MI, at tap center moderation, and at trending apps.
Wow, quite a list.
Yeah, covering different angles. And they also suggest emailing the classic abuse at telegram.org address. It's about creating noise through official channels. And they've even drafted messages to make it easy. There's a longer one, gives the whole picture. I stand with hashtag SolarianTech, at Durov, at Telegram, at adsgramai, at taps, at trending gaps, at dogs house bot, at notcoin bot. SolarianTech has been building transparently for over 1 year following Telegram's rules. They ran the hashtag DogAss Festival and distributed millions of Dog.GS to real users. This is not a scam. It is a community-driven project delivering real value. SolarianTech. At SolarianTech, at SolarianTech Bot, at SolarianTech Group. Vote in the Telegram App Center. https://medsbotcenter.startup app SolarianTech. And a shorter one, too, for quick hits. I support hashtag SolarianTech Real Project, Real Payouts, Not a Scam. Please review at SolarianTech, at SolarianTech Bot Vote. https://medappsbotcenter.startup app SolarianTech.
Makes sense. Give people the tools.
Exactly. And they're pushing for votes in the Telegram App Center, too, using that link. The idea is that every message, every vote adds up. It's the community trying to exert influence where the centralized control seems to have failed or stalled. It's Web3 ethos in action, really.
It really is a fascinating, unsettling case study, not just about SolarianTech, but for anyone develop or even just using these huge platforms. So what happens next? Where does this go? And what are the big takeaways, the broader lessons here?
Yeah, it really throws the challenges of platform governance into sharp relief, doesn't it? Especially in these fast-moving spaces that mix Web 2 platforms like Telegram with Web 3 tech like TON. The biggest lesson, I think, is the absolute need for clear communication from platforms, transparent processes, reliable, robust ways to appeal decisions. Without those, innovation gets risky, communities get disrupted. Sometimes it seems almost arbitrarily, even when the platform itself acknowledges a mistake was made. For developers, it hammers home the need to not just build great, transparent stuff, but also build strong communities that will back you up and keep meticulous records, partnerships, transactions, everything.
Documentation is key.
Absolutely. And for users, it's a reminder to stay critical. Do your own research. Support projects that are genuinely transparent and show verifiable results. Don't just rely on a platform label or lack thereof. It's about building a healthier ecosystem together.
So what we've looked at with SolarianTech, it's really a stark reminder, isn't it, about the power these platforms wield, how a single label, maybe even wrongly applied, can just unravel months, potentially years, of genuine innovation and community effort. We've gone through the evidence, looked at those strange contradictions in Telegram's response, and thought about the real people affected. Hopefully this deep dive has given you a much clearer, more rounded view of what's a pretty tangled situation. And it leaves us with a big question to chew on as we all use these digital platforms every day. In this age where so much cool stuff is built on top of existing systems, how do we make sure the platforms themselves play fair? How do we ensure due process for the innovators? And maybe just as importantly, what's our role as users and community members in pushing for a digital future that's more transparent, more equitable, and ultimately just more reliable for everyone involved? Thanks for joining us for